Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This
is That Thing of Ours. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Friday, 8th of August, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already heard, Angie and Steve are brand new grandparents, and we got a
Yay!
DTO baby. But seriously, if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on Facebook, you got like 7 choices. So run over there and clickety click.
Clickety click, everybody. Like to say hi to all the friends here. We appreciate you showing up, and we are truly excited about the new child. So
Yes,
it's always a beautiful thing.
it is.
It is. All right.
She's beautiful.
She is. All right. So hello.
We
Dawn.
got Dawn in the house.
Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Working and
Friends
lurking with
at work this
Carol.
evening. Yeah. Hey, Carol. Thanks for joining. Ginham.
Get him?
Ginham.
Yeah.
Hope I said that right. 71. Thanks for joining us. We
Thank
appreciate you.
Liberty.
What's up, Liberty? How you doing? Thanks
I'm
for
sure
joining.
everyone will start rolling.
Yeah, people start
in
rolling
here.
in. I mean, it's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. What's going on? I get some alfalfa crap going on here.
Oh, you look fine.
Who cares?
You look fine.
Hair.
Hair. It's
Hair.
a thing.
It is. It is a thing. It does its own thing.
It does do its own thing.
All right.
You
All right.
ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's jump right in.
You have it. So.
Oh, I have. That's
Yeah,
right. I
you have
do.
the first 3.
I have the first 3. You did tell me this. Hold on. It's acting a fool. All right. Here we go. All right. Let me see if I can't get this thing going now. All right. Share the screen. All right. This is about the active shooter that's going on or that was happening over in Emory University.
Georgia.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and make this bigger and start this over again. Here we go. All right.
Trying to piece together bits and pieces. WSB chopper shot again above the campus of Emory University where the gunshots were reported. We had the local news reports, including WSB TV, that the local hospitals have been told, or one local hospital in particular, to await the arrival of a police officer who they say had been shot. In terms of the shooter, the incident was reportedly taking place. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So top of your screen, that's a CVS. I just saw it. I was waiting to see on the logo, see where that. They're looking underneath that Tesla too on the left. See that? Let's look here. So they're going to zoom in WSB on this Tesla. and they got two officers looking. That's right in front of a CVS. So the CVS is where, I'm not sure if it's on campus or right next to the campus. Remember, this is really close to the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, and Emory University, campus of Emory University. And they clearly are looking for something by that white car, and there are two officers surrounding it now. One had been looking under the car initially. So that's a CVS. See the red awning coming out? And the reports we had locally were that the shooter in question was behind a CVS. So that car is parked in front of a CVS, and this is the first time we've seen this. But earlier, when we were on the shot, there was an ambulance to the right of where those officers are standing. You come back to the corner and then look around the corner. There was an ambulance. We thought we saw a stretcher coming out of that ambulance, but we didn't know the context of what we were watching. Now we're watching clearly a search of a white car. I believe it's a Tesla that is in front of that CVS. Now, screen left, Clifton Road. I mentioned earlier, Clifton Road is where the Centers for Disease Control are located, right on campus, or right adjacent to the campus of Emory University, Atlanta. Gunshots reported, and then the information we had about a police officer possibly being shot came from this police scanner. We have the audio. Let's play it before we take a quick break.
Be advised at this time we're getting additional call of an officer down, unknown if it's the second officer or the initial officer.
There you go. Officer down, calls of additional officers, officer down. So that came in on the police scanner. Then we had the reports from the local media that the hospital there locally was told to await a police officer. All right. Chris Starwald's coming up with the hill at the top of the hour. I think we might get Art Roderick on for a minute if we can. Let's take a quick break. That Tesla is obviously a point of interest in front of the CVS campus of Emory University in Atlanta. We'll be right back.
All right. So, the thing that gets me about all of this is the fact that there are a lot of shootings happening right now.
Yeah.
Is it pointing to something bigger? I have no idea.
Is it comms?
No, I don't think it's comms. I'm wondering
Are
if
they false flags?
No, I don't even know if they're false flags. Actually, I'm kind of getting more of a feeling of, because President Trump is doing all of the things that upset those who have been making all of the money for so long, that they are lashing out, and this would certainly be one of the ways to do it. That would be my. I think that would be the greatest threat, is if some agitators, some sleeper cells, are actually being activated. But we'll see how it works. Right now, it sounds like it's just one possible officer down, but that does not mean that they are deceased. It just means that they got injured. I'm hoping that it's just an injury, and we'll try to keep our ears to the track on that one to find out what's going on with that. I'm sure that was a while ago, because, well, 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's probably, the sun's probably still up over there, but probably for not a whole lot longer. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes on it, and we'll see what's going on with that. And maybe we'll hear something about that other shooter yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, yesterday as well. Yeah, lots of interesting things going on. So there's that. But then again, there's so many other things that are happening. It's difficult to keep up with the news. So there was a report. Epstein's butler of 18 years breaks his silence and says no way he killed himself. And it sounds like, as I was reading through this, he was one of the few people that was actually on the payroll for Epstein for a long time. He had been to, if I remember correctly, let's see, he says that Epstein was discussing future plans, like on the island, stuff like that. He was in New York. He was in, let's see, obviously on the island, and then I think one of Epstein's properties in Paris as well. It's kind of a long article. There's really not a whole lot there, but let's see. Yeah, here this photo is probably the first thing. I haven't seen this photo as of this point, but it's the butler with Bill Clinton on the what do they call it? The Lolita Express. was the nickname that they gave to that. Let's see. I don't think I've heard this before, but apparently they're saying that Epstein had 3 broken bones in his neck. Yeah, I don't know how that actually plays out in all of this. But in the end, it's another person saying Epstein didn't kill himself, and that would be somebody that was close to him and would have had some kind of a understanding about what his psyche was, especially considering how much time he spent with Epstein. And he may not have been buddy or anything, but he certainly would have had a good idea as to how Epstein's mind worked.
Right.
So if he says that he doesn't think that Epstein killed himself, then maybe he just didn't. But there's so much mystery surrounding, his demise in that jail cell. Dawn says both shootings were in Georgia at a base yesterday. All 5 shot are expected to recover. Amen.
That was for yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I haven't heard anything specific about the shooters at this point in time. I think I did see something where the shooter yesterday, he was a soldier, but I'm not sure much about who he is or what he did. I think he was in the cavalry unit. But that doesn't mean that he was a trigger puller. So yeah, just wait and see what kind of information comes out. And sadly, you can make people do stuff like that if they get compromised some way, somehow. And I feel that sometimes that's how a lot of this stuff works. Also curious if SSRIs were involved in either one of these.
Right.
That seems to be a common denominator, but time will tell. We might not hear about that kind of stuff anytime soon, but that's going to be probably come out once more of the pharmaceutical industry gets exposed the way that I believe it's going to be coming out, because we've seen too much. We've seen too much from O'Keefe. Yeah, from O'Keefe. He's been doing tons of exposures on the pharmaceutical industry. So I can't imagine, with all the information that's coming out with RFK Jr. Doing the things that he's doing, that all of the information isn't going to come out in some point in time about the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
But that does not mean that any of that is tied with today. It's just sadly one of those common denominators. All right, so we're going to share something with y'all. Y'all should appreciate this. It's the New York Times. All right, here we go. Trump is removing IRS chief 2 months after he was confirmed. Billy Long, a former Republican congressman, will no longer serve as the tax agency's head. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will oversee the agency as the acting commissioner. Let's see. There's not a whole lot of actually, it was decent. It was a decent article, and there wasn't a whole lot of propaganda kind of
For the left.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of propaganda language in there, but it was certainly trying to make it sound like, Trump put him in. He had no background in tax policy, and then beyond promoting a fraud-riddled tax credit, so they say, but with absolutely no any kind of link or anything trying to tell us what's going on.
Right.
So that's kind of iffy. Let's see, clashed at times with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And then I also think that he kind of butted heads with the head of the Fed. And then he also apparently gave Fridays off. But I mean, whatever. Not really deep of an article, but then again, I didn't get through all of it. I'm going to say I'm kind of unprepared for this one. But yeah, he was probably cleaning house, and his ability to do the things that Trump wanted might have come to a point where he wasn't as needed as he was before. Probably could have been there just for a Doge kind of thing. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's just interesting that
It is.
The Treasury guy is going to be over the IRS.
Yeah, but it's not the guy that's over the Fed.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So, yeah, we'll just see how it all plays out.
We will.
Yeah.
How about some Kelly?
All right, we could go for some Kelly.
Let's listen.
All righty.
All right, my friends, are you ready for this? Let's go. Why does everybody always want to be the cup? You know what I mean? God, fill me up. Give me more, please. Bless me. Me. What? Stop. I mean, you're starting to sound like a toddler at snack time. And that right there is the problem. We are obsessed with being full. I mean, I get it. You got bills to pay. You got kids to feed. You got things to do. But time out. God's word never told you to focus on you. The Bible says the exact opposite. God's word teaches us to pour. And Proverbs 11:25 tells us, the generous soul will be made rich, and he who waters will himself be watered. Oh, son, that's good. You see, we keep chasing the feeling of being full, but the truth is, we're spiritually dehydrated because your faith revolves around you. I know, that stings a little, but hey, I'm preaching to me too. Oh, God bless me, I need more. You know, so I can sit around on my couch and watch TikToks all day. No. God never called you to be a cup. He called you to be a hose. Oh, what does that mean, you say? Well, I am so glad you asked. A hose never has to beg for water, does it? Nah, that's ridiculous. Why? Because it's connected to the source. The hose is focused on flowing, not filling. And guess what? The hose always gets wet. You want to feel God move in your life? Then move. You want to see God bring provision to your life? Then start providing for others. You ready for some breakthrough in your life? Start helping others break chains off of theirs. Listen, my friends, the water can't stop if the flow never stops. But the second you unplug from the source and you turn the nozzle back to you, that's when it always seems to dry up. So let me encourage you today. Stop living like a thirsty cup. Start living like a connected hose. And never forget, you are the hands and feet of Jesus. You were called to be a blessing to others. But how can we be a blessing to others when we don't even have what we need? Because those who water will themselves be watered. And if this hit you right between the eyes today, good. That's how truth works. And if you want 40 more days of this punch it in the gut, think about that for a minute kind of truth, I got you. Grab my 40-day devotional called Think About That for a Minute, Volume 1. It's not fluff. It's not sugar-coated. It's rooted and grounded in Scripture. It's sharp and focused. It's just real. Like this. You're the light of the world, friends. It's our job to show the love of Jesus everywhere we go. You're not a cup. You are the hose. And think about that for a minute.
Nice.
Thoughts?
I've never had it presented as that kind of perspective before, but it makes a lot of sense. You know, our job is to pass on the grace and the love that he provides us, and then he fills us up more. And as I think about it, as I go back in time inside my head, I recognize that, you know what? There is a lot of that. It is whenever I tried to fill myself up first before I tried to fill anybody else up, I realized that I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed. But when I just do my best to provide that joy and love to the world around me, it really does make a lot of sense that I was filled up more that way. You know, and it's like one of our favorite pastimes back when we used to go to Walmart. It was always to try to make the cashier at the Walmart smile. I don't even know if they have cashiers there anymore because they were trying to get rid of them. I mean, shoot, it's hard enough to find a cashier at a grocery store. So anyways, I usually getting the business from ever that was standing behind the register. And it's not just at Walmart, it's so many other places. You know, sometimes we got to fill those people up because they still got another 4 hours in their shift or something like that. So yeah, when you see somebody having a rough day or something, make them happy. And when you see somebody else smile, it's like in a relationship or just dealing with people on the street. If somebody's having a bad day and you say something to cheer them up and you see their attitude change, you can feel their vibrational frequency change to something a bit more positive. Man, doesn't that make you feel better? And so, yeah, it makes perfect sense as to what Kelly's talking about, because what he's saying is that don't try to keep it for yourself, because that's where you end up hurting yourself. You give that love and that joy, you spread what he wants, and it just happens that your cup gets filled up. It's, I'm glad you shared that one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liberty says, had a dream last night. You folks were hosting a webinar. Laura Loomer popped in when asked how she was invited. At Sir Rat Bastard said all he did was click on repost. That was the end of the dream.
That would be amazing, Liberty.
That would be pretty amazing. Yeah, well, from your lips to God's ears, sir.
Right.
And well, maybe it is a premonition. We'll see. But sounds like we definitely need to do that webinar, so that way at least the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Do we have any dates on the webinar?
I just need everyone's email, and it's hard to get on a Friday since it's such a low thing, but everyone can send their email addresses to me at k@thatthingofours.com, DATTHING
Two T's.
OFOURS.com.
And I think it scrolls across the bottom there.
No, it's not in there for some reason.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you can fix that.
Yeah, I can.
All right.
So you ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
All righty. Let's get a move on here. The raw facts show how the Trump economy blows away Bidenomics.
Let's listen.
What a surprise.
I know.
If it had not been for COVID, these numbers would have been substantially better. But even taking account President Trump's last year in 2020, we saw a $6,400 real after inflation gain in income for the average family. And that compares with Joe Biden, which was a measly $551. So, Mr. President, you gain 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden. It's because of your policies.
And that's taken into consideration COVID, which a lot of times you don't have to do that. But I'm very glad you did.
We were almost 8,000 until.
Look at that number.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we looked at which families did the best, and we have data from the Census Bureau that shows by income percentage. So the 25th percentile is the lowest income. 75th percentile is the highest income. And what I find fascinating about this, Mr. President, is every income group did better. The red is President Trump, the blue is President Biden. Every single income group did better under President Trump. But what's really amazing is look what happened under Biden. The lowest income group lost income under Biden. They were poor 4 years after Biden's presidency. No gain virtually whatsoever for the middle class. And the rich was the only group that did better under Biden, which is ironic because Biden keeps saying he was trying to get rid of income inequality. He made income inequality worse, not better. It was President Trump who reduced income inequality.
These numbers just came out, by the way.
And then finally, these are the numbers just I just showed you in percentage terms. Mr. President, these are the numbers in dollar terms. So even the lowest income, 25th percent, gained about $4,000 income. That's a lot for a lower income family. $6,400 for the middle class and almost $10,000 for the richest. So you can see every income group did better under Trump than Biden by a wide margin. That's the story.
I think when you look at them, they're all something, but this one chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great, but this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers.
Come on, cameraman, zoom in.
Okay.
Thoughts?
All right. So obviously, surprise, like anybody surprised by this, President Trump's economy is doing better when you take into account inflation and everything else. And who's benefiting the most? The lower income people. And that's exactly where it needs to be. Are people feeling it right now? I don't know. I know that we're feeling like some things are better, but we're not seeing the great gains that we were, certainly hoping for. But what we were hoping for and what we expected are two completely different things, because what we really expected was a lot more problem making from the left to sabotage what President Trump is doing. The fact that he's able to overcome the landmine, the minefield that the left, that Biden and company put out, in addition to all of the clowns that are out there that are continuing to try to sabotage the good work that President Trump and all of those people that are working for him to make this country great again, especially compared to the fact that Biden made America, I don't know, one of the worst it's ever been. To have those huge gains is going to be difficult, but what's really happening is President Trump is not putting Band-Aids on the economy. What President Trump is doing is he's getting rid of all the impediments that are keeping people from being able to be more successful the way they should be. So I'm glad to see these things. Is the left going to believe it? No. Is the right going to fawn over it? Yes. But in the end, what people are going to be able to tell is, are they able to put more food on the table? Are they able to keep paying their electricity bill? Are they able to, keep the roof over their head? These are the things that people are looking at right now. When people are able to start buying their own houses, it's going to be a different story. People need to get out of the rental trap. And it's difficult to get out of it because every rental, I believe, is way overpriced at this point in time. But you know what? It is what it is. And we're just going to keep our positive mental attitude because we have seen positive movement forward. And as long as we're seeing positive movement forward, we give thanks to God, and we expect more because we know that God wants us to turn to him more, which is what we're doing. And as we continue to do that, and as more and more people turn to God, I believe that he's going to bless this nation more and more.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love this. I'm going to start living by this. Don says, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. You never know how much they may need it. I live by that daily. I love that.
Yeah, that's nice. I do like that.
You ready?
Yeah, I do like that. All right. Yes.
Okay. Let's listen.
All right. Let's listen.
I'm going to quote the esteemed scholar Larry David and say, pretty good. What are we talking about right here? Well, why don't we take a look here? Look, this is early polling, but look, for the GOP nomination, it's J.D. Vance at 40%. There's no one even close to him. Ron DeSantis back at single digits at 8%. Donald Trump Jr. back at 7%. And I know Kate Baldwin will say, Harry, it's so early. It's too early to look at the polling.
You said it. You don't even need me to say it.
I said it, quoting you. I was channeling you. But keep in mind that early favorites have actually gone on to win the nomination 63% of the time, those who have run since 1980. And when you're dealing with fields that are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, upwards of north of 20, and all of a sudden you're telling me that the early poll leader, who is J.D. Vance, that those win more than 50% of the time, that is why I say it looks pretty gosh darn good, or pretty good for the man from Ohio.
How about vice presidents historically? How they do.
Okay, so you see the polling, you see that J.D. Vance should be considered a favorite at this point, but take a look here. How about vice presidents, sitting vice presidents, the last 5 sitting vice presidents who ran? Richard Nixon in 60, he won. How about Hubert Horatio Humphrey in 68? That's HHH, that's a real acronym for him. How about Bush the first in 88, won. Al Gore in 2000, Kamala Harris in 2024, won. All of the last 5 sitting vice presidents who ran for their party's nomination won. So it's not just a polling. Historically speaking, if J.D. Vance gets in this fight and he's the sitting vice president, the history books say, hey, he's got a pretty gosh darn chance of going all the way, at least to the general election, because 5 out of 5.
Getting the nomination.
Yes.
How would President Trump factor into his chances?
Yeah, okay, so President Trump, has said some pretty gosh darn favorable things about J.D. Vance over the last week and his chances perhaps in 2028. Look at this. Times Trump endorses in GOP primaries, and that person goes on to win. Look at this. In 2020, 98%. 2022, 95%. 2024, 96%. If Donald Trump decides to get behind his vice president, this GOP nomination fight in 2028 is likely adios amigos over. J.D. Vance is very much likely going to be the GOP nominee, which is what the polling says and what his history says as well. At this point, things all seem to be coming up for J.D.
J.D. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, Kate.
Love you.
Oh, he's special. All right. So, you know what? That last set of numbers there showing 98%, 95%, 96% of gubernatorial and congressional races where he endorses them. I'd love to do a historical research and find out how many times that the press made all of the deal about the people that President Trump was endorsing that weren't making it. They can't even keep their numbers straight. And it's another reason why we don't really appreciate their polling at all, because it always seems to be so fudged information. Yes, he hit the nail on the head earlier when he was talking about the fact that, yeah, it's a little too early because we don't know if any of these people are even considering a run. Right now, we need to worry about what's going on. So what's the point of this? Why are they giving us this polling information for the next presidential race? Are they trying to figure out who they're going to put up against each one of these people? I know they're using game theory and all that other crap to try to figure out how they're going to win. But that's the thing about the Democrat Party is that they never figured it out. It's not about the polling. I know that politicians live and die by polling because they think that's what matters most to people. But President Trump, he polled terribly, and yet look at who won, and look at who won 3 times. Now, why are they doing this? Because they still think that the people care about what they say, and obviously, all 15 people that are still watching CNN probably do care. But outside of that, I just don't see how that works. And if people really do believe these polling numbers, remind them President Trump was failing in all of the polls each time he won the presidency, all 3 times.
Yep. You have the next one, by the way.
Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up. All right. So what do we got here? Looks like corrupt Fulton County DA Fani Willis and Bill Barr worked together on the RICO case targeting Donald Trump. Let's see. Is this a video? I got Project Veritas there. What? Okay. Let's see. Texts, notes, and emails expose Fulton County DA Fani Willis and Bill Barr worked together on the RICO case targeting Donald Trump. And there it is. That's the big deal right there, is the fact that they were working together. It was improper. They shouldn't have been doing it. If you're building a RICO case, you build your own RICO case, and you don't get other people involved to set the stage. A RICO case doesn't need anybody to set the stage. A RICO case should stand on its own 2 feet just fine. But you know what? Hey, here's what it is. Let me see if I can't get this video up so that way y'all can see. Oh, geez, that's 10 minutes long. Okay, I'm not going to do that to y'all.
Play some of it.
Play some of it?
Yeah.
Okay, if you say so. Let's see. Look this up. Okay, thank you for your patience. Share this tab instead.
Why I am being prosecuted and no one else. It's being charged or prosecuted. It's very easy. I called the FBI to report Bill Barr and Armstrong Williams. I have notes of every single meeting. One meeting can be about visa for someone, or another meeting can be about January 6th or RICO case. I have a quote here that was like, Barr believes the FBI will go to Trump House soon. And one thing that I heard a lot is like how they go to prevent America to have Trump again. One thing that I learned very fast and very in the beginning is like Bill Barr is someone extremely important. And I remember the biggest conversation they had at that point, it is like, what kind of charge that we can bring against Trump? And that's when Bill Barr, and I will never forget that, Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend.
All right, there we go. I think that's sufficient for now. So there is direct information with a witness who's talking about it. And based off of what she's saying, it sounds like she fell under the ether. She believed the crap that they were telling her. And so she went along with it. But as she went along, she started to recognize that that information wasn't good, that the way they were going about doing things wasn't a manner in which would be proper. And so I'm glad that people are speaking out and bringing this information. I think that that's the important part, is the fact that people are actually speaking up, people who were on the left, because they, are recognizing that they were caught in a very corrupt machine, and people are sick and tired of the corruption. So this is great. This is great news, and it's going to be one more of those things that just piles on. And guess what it does? It builds its own RICO case. This is racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization. Even if it's just an organization of two people, guess what? It's a corrupt organization trying to unseat a president of the United States through subterfuge and through deception and just general lawfare. They were excited about hitting President Trump's house. They wanted to hit him, and they wanted to hit him hard, and they wanted to make him feel pain. Why? Because they probably knew that the best chance they had was to make him back down, because he was, trying to make him tire of the constant attacks after attack after attack, and hoping that President Trump would say, okay, I give up. But it's like, have you not understood anything about this guy? The guy doesn't know how to give up. So, you know what? Good. I'm glad it's coming out. I'm glad more and more information is coming out. And as all these things get put together, there's going to be a lot of people who were pulling strings, thinking that they were, a manipulator, the person that deals with the, what is it? What was Pinocchio called? With a marionette. A marionette. Yeah, the manipulator, the one who runs the marionette. They thought that they were a manipulator, and it just didn't work out. So, enjoy. You did it to you. I look forward to justice being served.
Me too. And that's what they get.
Yeah.
That's what they get. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
How about some Justin?
Justin's always good.
Let's listen.
All right.
Jesus could have stopped them anytime, but he stood before the court and was unjustly sentenced. And he stood there in meekness, in total cooperation, understanding his assignment, that for 33 years of his life, it all came down to this day and this hour, and he could have stopped it. Jesus stood there stoically and allowed himself to be tortured. As they placed a crown of thorns, 3-inch thorns, on his head, and beat them in with a rod, and beat him about his body, he just stood there. And they mocked him, and they spat on him, and they cursed him, and he could have stopped it. They pushed and drug him like an animal, and then they whipped him. Blow after blow, strike after strike, ripping the flesh off his back. His flesh was hanging off him like bloody rags. He was beaten so bad that those that knew him didn't recognize him anymore. As they forced Jesus to his feet, they laid a cross on his back and forced him to carry it to his death. Step by step, blood dripped off of every limb of his body. As he went through the crowd, they continued to mock him, to cuss him, to spit on him. But he understood the assignment. But he could have stopped it. They laid the cross down and threw him down on it, again cooperating with the soldiers. he extended his arms and positioned his legs willfully, submissively, so they could nail spikes through his hands and his feet. As he laid on the cross in complete agony, a bloody mess, they raised the cross, causing his wounds to stretch where the spikes had held him in. With each agonizing second, he could have stopped it, but he understood the assignment. God placed all his wrath, in all his anger, in all the sickness and all the disease on Jesus at that time. Jesus wasn't even recognizable as a human being, and he could have stopped it. As Jesus hung there through all the torture and all the pain and all the humiliation, he never complained, not one time. Jesus cries out, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" with tears in his eyes. For the first time in 33 years of Jesus' life here on this earth, he was spiritually separated from God. God had to forsake him so he'll never forsake you. So if you ever wonder, am I worthy? Am I ever good enough for God? Never forget the price that's been paid. Jesus paid the ultimate price of death, but he also paid the ultimate price spiritually. He was separated from God. And it had to happen that way so you and I will never be spiritually separated from God. God promised us he will never leave us and he will never forsake us. He forsook Jesus so he'll never forsake you. Everything that Jesus went through was for the love of mankind. He is our King. He is our Savior. He did it for the love of you and I. He understood the assignment. He could have stopped it at any time.
Boom.
Thoughts?
All right. This is one of the things that it's not that I forget about it. It's that it's not on the forefront of my mind. And that is that he was fully God and fully human at the same time. And it only makes sense. And I think that this is one of the key parts is that he was fully God at the same time. He could have done so many other things that he did not do. And that's what everybody was expecting out of him. But Jesus never did that. What Jesus did is he served his time here on earth as a human. And that is truly, I couldn't imagine, because I know that it would be difficult to have all of that power and not say, you know what, enough's enough. And that's not what happened. And why is that? Because he acted as the example. He was able to fulfill all of the laws. He was able to fulfill all of the prophecies. He was able to do all of this without using any of the godly power that was by right his. And so it's done to serve as that example that it can be done. And the fact that it can be done means that we need to give our best effort to follow him and his example. That's the whole point of it, is to follow his example. And we're human. We're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, as far as I can tell, other than that one person, which is Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And that is the true miracle out of all of this, is that he would suffer and die when he didn't have to, but he did it for us. And it was to save us, because it also let God know that it's something that it didn't let God know. How am I going to? I lost my train of thought here. It's to show that we should try to follow that path. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that at this point.
I agree. I think it's wonderful. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Would you read that, please?
Certainly. What? that Nancy?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Wow. All right. Well, anyways, Nancy Pelosi promises to work to restore child genital mutilation in Commiefornia.
Let's listen.
How's your office responding to the pauses in gender affirming care here in California?
Well, that is something that I'm working for at the national level, and we have, how can I say, are hoping that we can have gender affirming care for our trans kids, and that it's a sad thing for us. I'm not totally. I don't know what effect we can have nationally with what we have going on in the White House and in the Congress. It's really very sad. If you were there, outside our door, we have a trans flag. Outside of our door in the office, congressional office building, we have the trans flag, as do some of our other colleagues. But that view is not necessarily shared by
the rest of the country,
other side of the aisle.
People on the other side of the aisle.
Thoughts?
Well, that's an interesting way to put it. She is correct. It is not untrue what she said. She is correct that the people on the other side of the aisle don't agree with that lifestyle. It wouldn't. Okay, so gender affirming care. Look, I get that the medical industry is talking about all that. My concern is that it's still medical experimentation, and it's not being made very clear because it's not a very successful program. It's not a very successful surgery. People who have had that surgery, a lot of them regret that decision as time goes on. And so the fact that California is going to do that, surprise, it's not a surprise. But at the same time, I don't believe that it's something that anybody needs to pay for against their will.
Right.
And so the entire state of California, you can't tell me that there's such an overwhelming majority that say that they would rather pay for other people's gender affirming surgery. It just doesn't seem right. Top again, Pelosi. Yeah, she didn't look too drunk. She seemed somewhat coherent.
You have the next one.
I have the next one. All right, let's go ahead and get to that. What do we got here? What happened? Share screen. Okay, there we go. Tom Homan to Pam Bondi. Stop politicians interfering with ICE. Let's see if I can't get rid of all these stupid advertisements about this. Border czar Tom Homan wants Pam Bondi.
There's a video.
Oh, okay. Wants Pam Bondi to step up arrests and prosecution of politicians who interfere with ICE. He has now stated it publicly. All right, let's go ahead and get to this.
Okay, so you need all these beds. Are you also hiring more agents? And what do you do when you have politicians that are tipping off the criminals that raids are coming, which endangers law enforcement in the process?
Well, the recruiting is sky high. I mean, I told a story a few weeks ago. I had a LinkedIn account I had to shut down because I got thousands of emails every day of military, police officers, retired agents wanting to come back. And as far as what's happening with these politicians, DOJ needs to step up and prosecute these people. I think it's impediment. I think it's interference. And we already have a record number of prosecutions for 18 U.S.C. 111, which is impediment, interference, and assault. We got to keep prosecuting these people and send a strong message. Enough's enough. Zero tolerance.
To me, it's aiding and abetting. To me, it's obstruction of justice. To me, it's a slam dunk.
All right.
Thoughts?
So I think that there's a lot of people who are in agreement with that it is obstruction of justice, that it is an attempt to impede law enforcement officials in the act of doing their job. That is a crime, through and through. And just because there are politicians who are doing it, the left has been so adamant about telling us that no one is above the law. Well, it sounds like you think you're above the law, considering that you're doing something that is illegal. He just named off 18 USC, whatever it was. But that's for lawyers and politicians to know that kind of all those numbers and everything. But the point is that they're doing it. And if they think that they aren't going to get caught, or they think that they shouldn't be prosecuted, then that means that they believe that they're above the law. It's really plain and simple. It's simple logic. So why is this simple logic so difficult to understand? I think what's going on, and the reason why it's taken so long, is that they're giving these people enough rope to hang themselves. And it's done to allow those who would corrupt themselves by informing criminals about the arrival of police officers to stop a crime from happening. It's I don't know. It's just so beyond the pale. So beyond the pale. I don't get it. But it's been going on long enough, and I think that they have enough evidence to get pretty much everybody who was going to do these kinds of stupid tactics, illegal tactics, to go ahead and bring these people in. And it won't be just that one crime that they finally catch them for on the last one. I'm sure that they're going to go ahead and say, yeah, we've been doing an investigation, and so we got all these other charges of you committing this, what I think is a treasonous offense. Yeah. After all, and this is from my perspective, they're invaders. They are part of an invading army, and therefore you are supporting an invading army. Therefore, I see you as an enemy of these United States.
There you have it.
But I'm not a lawyer, but we'll see how it turns out and how many people go to Gitmo in the end.
That'd be nice to see.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. Pam Bondi announces a $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolás Maduro.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolás Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. To date, the DEA has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of income for the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives. The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million. Under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice, and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. If you have any information to bring this criminal to justice, call 1-202-307-4228 or go online.
I wish I knew where he was. I could use $50 million.
Here's the thing. $50 million goes a long way. Guess what $50 million is going to do? It's going to encourage a lot more people to say, you know what, for $50 million, I can get out of this situation that I'm in, and I can get that freedom, and I can get out of the rat race. And I don't feel like playing this game for this guy anymore because he's kind of a jackass to everybody that's around him, would be my guess. Usually people like that, their egos are so big that they just kind of piss everybody off around them. But because they're the person that's in power, or they're the person that has power around them, and they create a culture of fear, it's only so long before people are less afraid of you than the repercussions, or there's a greater amount of money to make people, you know what, I could use the $50 million. And I think $50 million goes a long way. I didn't even hear about the $25 million reward. So the fact that it was just doubled tells me that now there's a campaign to let people know. And it wouldn't surprise me if there aren't flyers being dropped or the information is getting put out there. I have a feeling if I look into my crystal ball, I'm going to say that within the next 60 days, he's going to be in custody inside of the United States, getting ready for whatever kind of legal issues he may be coming up against.
There's Aaron.
There's Aaron. What's going on, Aaron? Thanks for joining us, brother.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
You can't ask God to bless the mess created through disobedience, but you can repent and ask God to help you clean it up.
Thoughts?
Well, it's pretty simple. We ask God to help us clean up our own mess. He cleans up the mess that is us. That's the first thing we should be asking for, is saying, hey, God, I know I'm a mess. I can't do this. I can't fix this. I know that you're the only one that can fix everything. Please fix this, meaning me, so that way I can do the things that you want me to do in the manner in which you want me to do them. Yeah. It's always turn to God. How fast can you run to the cross? When we run to the cross, that's when things start to get fixed. It's not going to poof, magic wand. It's not 911 Jesus. He's going to fix everything all at once. No, not at all. What's going to happen is he's going to have you learn how to be that better person that you weren't before. It's going to be a painful process, but that's okay, because he's cleaning house. And you know, when you're a level 5 hoarder, it takes a long time to clean that house out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah. All right. So back to the news over here. President Xi tells Putin China is ready to back peace and negotiations with U.S. on Ukraine. Yesterday, it was confirmed by both sides that President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin would have their first face-to-face I'm assuming that's bilateral summit, just days away, prompting a Friday phone call between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's Putin. Chinese state media specifically indicated that the Xi call is an anticipation of the historic Trump-Putin meeting, which will be the first one over the 3-year-long Ukraine war. Of course, it wouldn't have been that long if President Trump was actually in office. Yeah. Anyways, during the call, Putin updated Xi on recent U.S.-Russia communications and expressed Russia's willingness to maintain close coordination with China. Chinese state broadcaster CCTV indicated, also is echoed in Russian media. So I've been hearing a little bit about how Russia and China are working with each other more than they had in the past, but that's okay, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. And this whole Ukraine war thing is like they said, it's been 3 years long. Sadly, that's a lot of unnecessary lives that have been lost. But at the same time, it's part of how everything has had to play out. And I know that in the end, a lot of the problems that were Ukraine, i.e. the corruption, as it was known as the most corrupt nation in all of Europe, I think that's all going to get cleaned up. In the end, I think that was the goal. I don't know if Putin's going to be able to keep Crimea, but this is all going to be the stuff that's hashed out during these peace talks. So we'll see what happens.
Just throwing that back up there for the webinar in case anyone missed my email.
Yeah. If you want to join the webinar that we're going to do, go ahead and email Kay at that email address. Thank you.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
All right. Massive ActBlue Democrat money laundering scam is uncovered. What? Who would have seen that one coming?
I know. Let's listen.
All righty.
Tell me, magic mortgages. What in the world is this, Senator?
So we have this architecture that when you buy a house, generally it goes into escrow. You have a title company that handles the escrow, and there are a number of documents that go into it. So just at a broad scale, let's imagine you buy a house. Grant Stinchfield buys a house for $200,000, and it's funded by one of the North American banks. We'll just say Wells Fargo. Please don't sue me. All the records, including the mortgage, the deed of trust, the Alta insurance policy, all of those records are recorded in the county record. Then just a few minutes later, your $200,000 house suddenly has a $200 million magic mortgage that comes through. It's nothing but a wire that goes through the title company. There's no lender involved because it's a hard money loan, what they call a cash hard money loan. But because it goes through a title company, there's no notation of who the lender is. And it goes on through the system. Now, what's interesting is, and this is what caught our attention, these are ActBlue officers, corporate officers. Once we found one, it led to another and another and another and another. So we have them all over the nation. And this is just one small fragment of the human map. You leave this digital dust, if you will. This is one small fragment.
You have all of these gigantic financial transactions. Now the question becomes, how do they funnel that back into the campaigns? Is that the small dollar donations that we see that show up at some lady's house and she's donated to ActBlue 52 times and she knows nothing about it?
Well, that's just one small aspect of it. So James O'Keefe, got to give that guy credit with the whole smurfing piece that he's done. And we got to be careful about what we're calling this. This is a research project because we're not licensed investigators. We want to make sure that people understand that this money is going into organizations that this architecture was set up by Barack Obama to spread cash around the country and to put money into political action committees, into non-government organizations, to fund candidates, to set up the whole architecture for a public relations machine, read basically propaganda machine, to promote the whole concept that we're a team, we've got great funding, it's all behind us. So here in Arizona, for example, the Arizona Democrat Party, not more than about 5 weeks ago, it replaced their chairman because their fundraising is 25% of what it was last year. Well, where did all the donors go? So what we're talking about here, Grant, is wholesale fraud, where the money is distributed by ActBlue officers. And now, because we're not federal law enforcement, we don't know exactly where it went, but that's why we've turned it over to U.S. attorneys.
And that brings me to the real news, I guess, is that you have handed this over to the Department of Justice. What has been their response of taking the evidence? We'll call it evidence because, nothing's been proven yet. I'd like to get ActBlue's response on all of this, but you turn over this evidence to DOJ. What do they say to you?
We are now engaged in conversations with a number of U.S. attorneys, former U.S. attorneys, lawyers who are not yet confirmed U.S. attorneys. So there is great interest. I've got to believe that Attorney General Pam Bondi has forwarded this out to the folks that are the financial crimes folks. And by the way, it wasn't just the AG. We also sent it to the I.R.S. Criminal Division and to the FBI. So Director Patel also has this.
There you go. Director Patel has this.
Exactly, Aaron.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't criminals in ActBlue. Yeah, I would be surprised if there weren't
Yeah.
criminals there. So big money laundering scheme. He says it's just one part. Wouldn't surprise me if they weren't stuffing some of these people of questionable immigration status living in these houses. They'll get seized, they'll get put on the market, and guess what? It's going to be one of those things that's going to help real Americans buy real houses here in the United States, where people should be able to buy a house without this super inflated backwards system that we have right now. So I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to hear this. No, he's not an investigator, but he's certainly spilling the tea about what's been going on, which is going to have huge effects when it comes to people and organizations that have been acting in a corrupt organization kind of scenario get tied up in RICO cases. The RICO cases kind of build themselves.
They're going to get what they deserve.
We'd all like to see that now, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Actually, I think what we'd all like to see is to be free out from underneath their thumb as they were stealing everything from the American people to support their personal agenda to make themselves kings and queens and all sorts of American royalty. Boy, those people that have been following that no kings thing, they're sure going to be pissed when they find out that they've been supporting the kings and queens in this country and that President Trump was actually fighting for the little people.
Imagine that.
Going to be interesting when they wake up.
You mean Trump was right again?
I mean, I'm not saying that's 100% fact. I'm just saying that that's like 99.99% possibility.
There you have it. You ready?
Yes,
Would you read that, please?
certainly. Epic rant followed by epic analysis of the rant.
Let's listen.
All righty.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing about privilege. Privilege isn't being white, bonehead. Privilege is living in government housing and calling people oppressors while they pay your bills. Get it? I'm done pretending that any of this bull makes sense. You want to talk about privilege? You want to talk about real privilege? Real privilege is wearing $200 sneakers when you haven't worked a day in your life. Privilege is walking around with $300 Beats headphones while you're living on food stamps, while you're on public assistance, and it's paid for by people who wake up and grind every day. Privilege is having the latest smartphone with unlimited data and having zero idea where the bill goes because somebody else is always picking up the tab. Privilege is being able to protest every little thing that offends you without worrying about calling in sick to work because you don't have a job. Privilege is being able to cheat, lie, fail over and over again in life and still get bailed out while people who play by the rules get punished. That's privilege. This isn't about race. This isn't about class. This is about accountability. We've got a culture that rewards victimhood and demonizes work ethic and responsibility. Meanwhile, the people holding everything together for the rest of society, they get taxed into the ground. Their businesses get choked by regulation, and they get personally vilified for speaking up and saying that this is full. You want to talk about privilege? Then start with the people who've never paid the price, but who also scream the loudest. Because they've never had to build anything. They've never had to defend anything. They've never had to carry any real weight. And the reason they get away with it, it's because we don't live in a society of strong men anymore. No, that's been dismantled on purpose over the last 50 years because a society of strong men would never put up with any of this. And that's exactly why they came after us first.
And he is so deadly accurate, yo. Y'all been sending me videos of people that have been hitting on every single point. And let's just be absolutely clear. And the reason why they have to talk like this, and when I say they, I'm talking about white people that are disgusted at what the cultural norms are, and black people basically complaining. And I don't even think it's black people, of course. I think it's black culture. And there's a certain demographic of people, of black people, that are the loudest. They complain the most. Every single thing is racism. They've never experienced racism. They've never employed nobody. They've never actually went and did the things that would make you a productive member of society. They always talk about tax the rich. And then let's throw in the white apologists on top of that. You know, I was watching and then I reviewed a video of a black woman that was going off on a black guy that was working at Walmart. And the white woman at the end, if you watched it all the way to the end, was apologizing to the woman. And she wasn't even familiar with the fact that the woman had basically offended and threw off and was trying to fight the guy that was just doing his job at Walmart. And so every last one of these people are easily offended, but never take any accountability for the role that they play in their lives.
Thoughts?
All right, I'm going to go a step further and say it's not even black culture. It has nothing to do with black, other than the fact that that's what's been promoted as the way to live on television, in the streets. They've been told that this is the way you're supposed to live. And it's not just black people. There's white people who live like this too. That's what all of this rap crap is. How many people said that the way rap was going was not beneficial? And so it was taken. It's not black culture. It's ghetto culture. Ghetto culture is the problem. It is the deification of the ghetto fabulous lifestyle. There is nothing fabulous about ghetto nothing. The problem with the ghetto is it's filled with a bunch of people who are pissed off at life and feel that they deserve to be handed things because they want to cry oppression. The only thing that's oppressing is the way your behavior is. Ghetto behavior is oppressive. And the demand that you deserve something because you got told no once, and maybe there was somebody who was white who did something to offend you because of your color once upon a time. But you know what? Everybody's experienced hate. I know that I've experienced hate from white people and black people. I'm not white enough for some white people, and I'm not black enough, or I'm not dark enough, or not melanated enough for those who are melanated much more than I am. It's just kind of the way life is. You know what you do? You grab a box of straws and you suck it up and you go figure out what it is that makes you happy and you go do that. And if you get a jackass customer, if you get a jackass that wants to point out whatever it is that you don't like, guess what? They're not there permanently. So why set your life on that course to ruin it simply because you're offended? You know what? Grow up. Grow up and recognize that your feelings don't matter to the world. Would it be nice if the world cared about your feelings? Yeah, but that's not the way it works. Sorry. You know, I care as much as I can, but when people are hostile towards me, I ain't giving you all the feels. I might ask you, what's going on? Why are you so angry? You know, but then again, it's a different language anymore because it's part of what's been created artificially. It's all artificial. Anyways, end of
Very
rant.
much so.
End of rant.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
And I don't know who needs to hear this, but God does not give more to somebody who does not care about what they already have. He is the most amazing steward. Somebody who wants to take care and maximize everything. We see it in the story of the talents. If you go to another place where they tell the parables, God, by his grace, gives somebody 1, somebody 2, somebody 5. And he says, I'm going away. I just need you to do something with what I gave you. And literally, the one with 5 turns it into 10. The one with 2 turns it into 4. The one with 1 was scared, and so he buried it. And when he put it in the ground and he came back, the master said, what'd you do? He said, I doubled it. I doubled it. And this man said, I knew you were a wicked, harsh master, so I didn't want to mess anything up. I didn't want to live in crazy faith. I didn't want to take a step of faith. And so I buried what I had. I kept it hidden. I kept it protected. Here it is back to you. God literally called him a wicked servant because he didn't steward well what seemed to not be working. I don't know what it is in your life right now, but if you want to see unusual acceleration, God's looking at what's in your hand right now.
Thoughts?
That's one of the things that was a big challenge for me for the longest time is I knew that I wanted more in life. But the problem is I was never grateful for all of the things that I had. I had to go through some rough times to figure out that I need to be grateful for the things that I have. And that gratitude is the thing that can really make a difference in your life. Are you going to be showered with all sorts of stuff because you have gratitude all of a sudden? No. Not at all. As a matter of fact, you might not get anything else. But when you express that gratitude for everything that you have, and you start to take a look around and realize that you really do have a lot more than so many other people. If you're living here in the United States, you have a lot more than most everybody else on the planet. You are in the 1% if you live here in this nation. And I mean that even if you're on food stamps, you have so much more than people around the world because you're not living in a corrugated tin house and eating beans, rice, and wish meat because the only meat you can get is the meat that you wished for, and that's all you're getting. We are blessed here. And so it's one of the reasons why America has had to go through so many hard times, because we forgot that we need to be grateful for all of the things that we have. So make sure that you express that gratitude as soon as you wake up in the morning. You know, thank God for bringing me back, and thank God for the breath in my lungs. Thank God for my feet. Thank God. Just work your way up. And that's just the start. We're supposed to be in prayer. I'll pray continuously, correct? So if you're supposed to pray continuously, giving gratitude is prayer of some sort, because you're recognizing and you're giving thanks and gratitude to the creator who gave it to you. Liberty says, for some reason, you have turned down the volume. I have mine wide open and still barely hearing these vids. Okay, thank you, Liberty, for letting us know that. It's one of the things that I haven't touched the volume. It's some of the videos come across quietly, and I know that StreamYard's been working on that, and we'll send another trouble ticket into them to see if we can't get the help with that. But thank you for letting us know.
Yes.
It's the only way we're going to do that. I'll keep trying to turn the videos up again, but it's practically at the top. It's already at 9. So anyways, Carol says that's why we bought Mrs. Wright a cantaloupe yesterday.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
you guys are always doing great things for other people.
Yeah. There
You
go.
ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. A bioengineered butter is being developed from carbon and hydrogen, hitting the market in 2027.
Let's listen.
Great, more crap that's going to be in the grocery store that nobody needs to put in their face.
Yeah. Let's listen.
Yeah. Chicago.
It looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar
Come on,
with.
Chicago,
without
you can
the
do better than that.
farmland, fertilizers, or emissions
Take a bite.
tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia. In the middle of an industrial park in a suburb west of Chicago, something unprecedented is happening.
So you're using this gas right now to like cook your food. And we're proposing that we would like to first make your food with that gas.
The company is called Savor, and you better believe it. Their pioneering tech uses carbon and hydrogen to make the stick of butter you see on this plate.
This is pretty
Stop calling
novel
it butter.
to be able to make food that looks and tastes and feels exactly like dairy butter, but with no agriculture whatsoever.
And no long ingredient list the average person can't pronounce.
It's really just our fat, some water, a little bit of lecithin as an emulsifier, and some natural flavor and color.
How? Fats are made up of carbon and hydrogen chains. The goal here, replicate those chains without animals or plants. And they did it. They tell me to simplify, they take carbon dioxide from the air and hydrogen from water, heat them up and oxidize them. The final result?
It looks like a wax, like a candle wax at first.
But
That
they're
sounds
fat
appetizing.
molecules, like the ones in beef, cheese, or vegetable oils.
Sustainability is why we are here.
It's all done releasing 0 greenhouse gases, using no farmland to feed cows.
We're like not at full capacity in this facility yet.
And even though we're standing in a factory setting,
And in addition to the carbon footprint being much lower for a process like this, right? The land footprint is like 1,000 times lower than what you need in traditional agriculture.
I know what you're thinking.
I think we need to taste it.
I would love for you to taste this.
How does it taste?
I love butter, so I'm going to take a really healthy amount.
Admittedly, surprisingly, like butter.
Cheers.
We're tasting butter.
Another reason they say this makes an impact, no palm oil, a significant contributor to deforestation and climate change. That's not all. Of the 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases emitted every year, 7% is from the production of fats and oils from animals and plants. So when could you get a taste yourself? Right now, they're working directly with restaurants, bakeries, and food suppliers, releasing these chocolates made with their butter in
Need the
time for
list
the
for those.
holidays.
Savor butter in either its current manifestation or with our partners, we expect that to be on the shelves kind of more like around 2027.
Their teams here in Batavia, Illinois, and their home lab base in San Jose, California, backed by Bill Gates, who wrote in his blog, quote, "The idea of switching to lab-made fats and oils may seem strange at first, but their potential to significantly reduce our carbon footprint is immense. Believing butter can make a difference."
This is really about how we feed our species and heal our planet at the same time.
I put more information on food sustainability and how this could impact our food industry moving forward in the story that's up on our website right now, where you'll also find more information about this company. Reporting inside Savor's facility in Batavia, I'm Tara Molina, CBS News Chicago, Investigators.
Thoughts?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll wait till the human trials are finished, so that way we can find out what's going on. But yeah, I don't want your your greenhouse gas waste on my plate. Thank you very much.
Right.
But y'all are more than welcome to eat all of it.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with these people? I'm going to become Amish. This is probably the safe way to go, Liberty.
Yeah.
Wow. That's terrifying. Anyways, Carol says, but that reminds me of like we buried it. But if you find a good one, go multiply its goodness. What?
The cantaloupe.
Oh, we're
You
still on the
didn't-
cantaloupe
Yeah, you
thing.
didn't bury it. You just got another one for your neighbor. You did a great thing, Carol.
Yeah.
I think. You ready?
Yeah,
Would you read that, please?
certainly. Charlie Kirk explains why America is the hottest nation in the world right now.
Let's listen.
All right.
Founder and president of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. All right, Charlie, this is time for offense. I don't like all this talk about we can't do this, we can't do that.
I completely agree. And this is smash mouth politics. You see, Democrats, they don't hate gerrymandering. They hate losing. And they're very afraid that finally the Republican Party led by President Donald Trump is one that is playing to win. We witnessed Donald Trump have to face 700 years in federal prison. They were playing for keeps during the last presidential election. And now we won that election with great records and great margins. And now we're just trying to redistrict a singular state to be more representative of the Hispanic population in that single state. And they're talking about adding stars to the flag and adding Puerto Rico. Well, guess what? Two can play at this game. President Donald Trump announcing the new census. What that would do is that would also potentially subtract 20 electoral votes from Democrats in the Electoral College system, as congressional seat appropriation is directly correlated with electoral college totals. Deeper than this, though, this is a new mentality. This is not a Republican Party that is just playing for neutrality or trying to protect broken norms. Instead, we are playing to win. We know we are up against a vicious opposition, one that might play a good game on television every so often or saying that they're working for the American people. But deep down, we know what they are. We know what they represent. And President Donald Trump and this movement, and you see it across the country with the resolute attitude in Texas, is that we are now going to fight fire with fire. We're going to play offense, and we're finally going to be back in the directive and the driver's seat to save this country.
I mean, how long is the Republican Party going to get bullied? I mean, you remember the schoolyard. You're just going to keep getting bullied if you don't stand up and punch the guy in the nose. This isn't out of bounds what the Republican Party is suggesting doing. This is stuff that's already legal. It's not extra legal.
Yes.
Everything that this administration has done so far is within the legal constitutional system. And guess what? He's having success.
Yes. And he's more popular this summer than he was beforehand. We're seeing mass migration coming to a complete halt. The border is totally secure. Economic optimism is up. People's consumer spending is going up. Not only that, we're seeing companies break earnings expectations. Recession fears are going away. As the previous clip said, this is exactly what we voted for. But make no mistake, the same people that tried to kick President Donald Trump off the ballot in Colorado, that tried to kick President Donald Trump off the ballot and put him in prison, they are not going to go away. And that is what I think the new philosophy of this governing coalition of the Republican Party needs to be. If you just want to go try to sue for peace with the Democrat Party, we want nothing to do with you. Instead, we have a mandate. And that mandate is that we want victory. And victory for America means the defeat of the Democrat Party. As they are a permanent minority party, America will succeed and America will win. As President Trump said a year ago, this country was dead. And now it is the hottest country in the world. Why? Because the Democrat Party was defeated. As the Democrats are defeated, America can succeed.
Well, you're hot now because South Park's mocking you. Watch South Park mock Charlie. Go ahead.
Oh my God, what makes you think you have the right to say what I do with my body?
Let me ask you something. If a pregnant woman is killed and the baby dies too, why is the killer charged with a double homicide?
Well, because people have different beliefs.
It's not about belief, it's about truth. Science confirms life begins at conception.
Were you honored?
Not only was I honored, they got the little sip of the water correctly. They got the hairdo. It was the little details are perfect. And look, you know, South Park, they could be very nasty towards a lot of people. That just goes to show the impact, the cultural power of what we've been able to do at Turning Point USA, the billions of views, how we're able to get so many young people on board for conservative values. And this movement that President Trump has built on campuses across the country that we've been able to support is just remarkable. And so it is a great honor. And even more remarkably, that is a word for word quote on South Park.
They're watching. Don't be surprised how many people watch. Thanks, Charlie.
All right. So this is something that the Republican Party has done absolutely poorly as long as I can remember anything about politics. And that is the Republicans have always just kind of had a turn the other cheek kind of attitude about the way the Democrats do it, but it's always been to the detriment. It's never shown to be something that was beneficial for the Republican Party. But I think that that's because there were so many saboteurs within inside of the Republican Party that were just closet Democrats, and we're finding a bunch of those, and those people are getting rooted out. A lot of them have been voted out, and so that's why things are changing, because the people that were calling themselves were as Republicans that have been removed, as they've been going away, the Republican Party has been able to do more of the Republican Party kind of principles. And so send those fake rhinos, which is a term that's been around for quite some time, because they have been Republicans in name only. Now that the rhinos are going away, the Democrats are being shown for their absolute inability to do anything that makes anything that it seems rational. And so therefore, we're finding a natural balance as to what political ideologies do when they're allowed to stand on their own. So what needs to happen? Need to go after the Democrat Party and make sure that people know that the way they've been acting, just let them be themselves, really, is all you have to do. People are naturally going to go away from it, especially since there's a decent contrast in comparison to an actual Republican Party versus the Rhino Party that we've had for so long. Now, with that being said, the Democrat Party is going to have a change, a fundamental change. It's going to have to fundamentally change, the kind of thing that Obama was talking about, that fundamental change, but not of America, but of the Democrat Party to go back to traditional Democrat values. And that will be one of the things that will help America grow even more, because we can't have just one party that has all of the say. No. Not at all. We need to have two parties at the very least. Honestly, the two-party system is part of the problem too. We need to have a lot better idea as to what different political ideologies are, and so let the Green Party, which is really just the watermelon party, green on the outside, pinko on the inside. Let them have their own party, but. This is, again, one of those things that 30,000 concept really makes sense, because there are socialists here. There's Nazis here. Well, you know what? That's their belief. And so they need to not feel that it's a zero-sum game, and that's what we have based off of the system that was designed by that loser Woodrow Wilson that was president, and it's just gotten worse ever since him. And that's why I'm glad that all of these things are changing, because once Americans finally figure out who Woodrow Wilson actually was, then we can actually get back to the America that it was before Jekyll Island and their good dear friend in the Democrat Party, Woodrow Wilson.
Yep.
Carol says, I want to see the Rhino Republicans removed from office as well. They are getting there. They are going away. Where's Mitt Romney? Where's a lot of these people? They're gone. They're gone now. Nothing you can do about it. And that's the good thing. Now we need to start getting more real Americans, as opposed to this political class that seems to keep getting taken over. But I have a feeling that there was a whole island involved in creating this kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So time will tell, especially as more and more truths come out. They better start coming out. But then again, They've been coming out by the people in the positions of power, like Kash Patel. Not all the stuff that we want to hear, but it is starting to move. The gears of freedom are starting to move. They may be rusty, but it is getting fixed. Mark my words. Thank you, Little Lunker. I appreciate that. Liberty says warriors are only strong if their leader is strong.
Amen.
Yeah, well, at least well led.
Yeah.
And we do need leaders.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. President Trump has signed a directive for the Pentagon to take military action against drug cartels.
Let's listen.
Saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartels. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question? That's why I'm asking. We'll see. I will answer it. It's true. Absolutely. Because they are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all of that. We had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in. So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100% right. Well, she's so afraid of the cartel she can't walk, so that's the reason. And I think she's a lovely woman. But the president of Mexico is a lovely woman. But she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think.
Thoughts?
All right. So this is an expected step in what President Trump was planning on doing in terms of dealing with the cartels. I think that there's been special operations forces.
Have a good time, Aaron.
Oh, have a good time, Aaron. Yeah, enjoy that barbecue, sir. All right. So this is okay. Anyone know how Jenny is doing? Haven't heard from her in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll reach out to her and see what's going on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up.
Anyway, thoughts?
All right. So President Trump, this is an expected next step. I was kind of expecting this to be more of a public kind of thing. I do believe that our special operations forces, SOCOM, has most definitely been involved. I don't have anything to confirm that other than it only makes sense. Especially with the fact that things have been happening in terms of the cartels have been kind of breaking up. They're having to reorganize because one of El Chapo's sons had turned state's evidence, I guess. And so now and Mexico has had a lot of changes in terms of being aggressive towards the cartels. So it would not surprise me that our military would be more active. I did see something. I don't know how accurate it is. Hey, Left Lane, thanks for joining. I hope you're doing well today. Let's see, that there was some kind of firefight between our troops and other people down on the border, or not other people, but with cartels. So I'm not exactly sure about that. Don't quote me on it. It could be rumors, but it's going to be part of the process. And President Trump understands that the cartels have been causing a lot of problems here within our borders, just with the drug epidemic. That is a big problem, and it's something that's repeated time and time again. Also, they're obviously involved in human trafficking with the coyotes and everything. So President Trump is going to go to the next phase of dealing with them. So we're going to just kind of sit back and see how President Trump deals with it. And if he's deploying the military or employing the military as a more, I guess, overt kind of scenario, then we're going to start to see some changes with that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bigger changes are on down the pipeline if it's going to be more overt operations.
Yes. And Left Lane, we're so glad you're feeling better. That makes us happy.
Praise be to God.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
And the truth is, if you can't serve God in the shadows, And the truth is, you're not ready to lead in the light. He was okay with being under Elijah's authority until it was his time to lead. Because the truth is this, the biggest killer to your calling is being impatient, rushing the process, something you're not ready for. Elijah served. Are you okay with serving? Are you okay with learning? You okay with waiting on God? Until that happens on the inside of you, you will always feel disorder. But the moment you say, God, I'm okay, is the moment that peace comes. And you're able to move into everything that God has for you. And by the way, it's bigger than you think. It's way bigger than the thing you wrote down. It's way bigger than your 5-year plan. God has so much more for you.
Thoughts?
Jesus asked us to serve. There's a reason why he washed his disciples' feet. And again, it was the example of serving those who are supposedly, in this world beneath you. It is about service. And as we serve others, it most definitely is something that is pleasing to the Lord. That's why he taught it. So we should serve. We should serve people around us. Now, does it mean that we should serve them without any kind of lesson going on there? No. But then again, it depends on who we're serving and how we serve. So make sure you're serving not just to merely be a servant for servant sake, but serve as if you are serving the Lord. And that's what he asks us to do. He asks us that when we do our job, that when we do anything, that we do it as if we're doing it for God. And God will put the scenarios in front of us so that way we can serve the people that he wants us to serve. So always have that serving heart. Try to be helpful. Try to spread that love. And again, if it's just merely trying to make somebody giggle at work, that is serving them as well. So just make sure you're spreading that love and joy everywhere you go as best as you can.
Mm-hmm.
You ready? Okay. Carol says, maybe things are getting better in general lately because our boss from the big businesses called us today, and she was actually nice.
Good.
Really? That's nice. Do unto the Lord. Yes.
Hey, Silver.
Hey, Silver. Thanks for joining.
And Cowbear.
And Cowbear. Yeah, we know he's around there somewhere too.
Yep. You ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
Sweetenly. All right. CNN is melting down over 2 grand jury investigations opened up against crooked Letitia James.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I've been ready for this one.
Let's listen.
All righty.
That's a breaking news coming into the Situation Room right now. The U.S. Justice Department
Wolf is looking
opening
old.
an investigation into the New York Attorney General Letitia James's office. This comes as part of a criminal investigation into James, who previously prosecuted Trump. Let's go live right now to our correspondent, Bryn Gingras in New York. What are you learning, Bryn?
Yeah, well, so we're getting this information, our Karis Canal confirming that there are now 2 grand jury subpoenas issued by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of New York, looking to get information about James's office, basically trying to see if there was any criminality by her office when she filed that civil lawsuit against the Trump organ going to trial, and the Trump organization being found liable, having to owe now at this point, because of interest, about $500 million in penalty. So it appears that this is a pursuit to figure out if there was any criminality in the investigation moving forward to that lawsuit. So we're still trying to work out all the details of this, but we also understand there is another subpoena in relation to James suing the NRA, if you remember, the National Rifle Association, which was also found liable after the lawsuit her office filed. Now, we know that James is a big adversary of Trump, and we know that Trump has a history of going after people who have gone against him. He's spoken out many times against
Typical
James
CNN.
herself during the time of that trial, and even most recently. So this is something, of course, that we're going to continue to follow, but that is the latest news that we're getting right now, again, from our Karis Canal.
All right, we'll see what happens. Bryn Gingras reporting for us. Thank you very, very much. Up next, do CNN reporting.
Such trash.
All right, thoughts?
All right. So thoughts. CNN obviously pushing that perspective. We know President Trump goes after, his political adversaries. Yeah. Did you happen to pay attention the previous 4 years, Heifer? I don't think so. Or you did pay attention, you're just in on the problem, and I'm sure it'll come out in the future. Or you are just a brainwashed idiot one of the useful idiots that the left loves to talk about so much. You know what? It's all going to come out in the wash, and there will be very few people left who are holding on to the narrative that clowns like her have been propagating, the lies that have been propagated because Trump, they actually went after Trump. They raided his wife's panty drawer. They raided his house. They put him in jail. They did everything that no one has ever done before to a former president. And so now they're in panic mode, DC in panic, or panic in DC. And so they have no choice. They backed themselves into a corner, and here they are trying to push the narrative that nobody really cares about anymore, except for the 12 viewers that still watch CNN. And you know what? It's all entertainment at this point in time. I look forward to the complicit Mockingbird media to be found out. Oh, yeah, that's right. Tulsi Gabbard just said something about that, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mockingbird media is still active. Huh. Yeah, wonder if that has anything to do with it. Time will tell. Left Lane says, don't you know the CNN stands for Communist News Network? I do.
Yeah.
I do, but you know what? We still got to share it.
Still got to.
Still got to share it, because these are kinds of things that are going to end up having to come up in the future.
Yep. You ready?
Mm,
Would you read that, please?
certainly. All right, here we go. Intel said Russia wasn't backing Assad, and the Obama regime knew it.
Let's listen.
All right.
Barack Obama had decided that the career people are going to come to my conclusion. Doesn't matter what the intelligence shows. I've decided that I want to say that Vladimir Putin interfered in the election to help Donald Trump. And that is contrary to all the evidence that the career CIA people had. They had already briefed Congress on November 29th, and they had briefed the president back in September of 2016 that Russia wasn't trying to pick a candidate. It was just trying to cause mischief like it does in every election. In fact, the best evidence, the smoking gun evidence that the CIA career people were right, was that Vladimir Putin stopped his operations, his influence operations, in October 2016. If you were trying to help Donald Trump win, the month that you would lay down on Hillary Clinton and blow your submarines up with her would be in October. Instead, Putin pulls out and lets the American people, without much more influence, go on. The CIA had it right, and Barack Obama decides to corrupt that process because he and Hillary Clinton want to be victims. We didn't lose fair and square. We didn't lose because my policies weren't appreciated. We didn't lose because Hillary Clinton didn't do enough work in Wisconsin and Michigan. We lost because big bad Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump beat us by cheating. That's the victimology that liberals love every time they lose. But in this case, rather than just create a political narrative, they're using the apparatus of the CIA and the intelligence community to create an official government product that is bogus. That is Watergate level stuff.
Oh, this blows Watergate out the water.
I know.
Oh, man. So, surprise.
Thoughts?
Obama is directly tied to it now. Now, that's pretty nice. Or at least that's what he's doing. He's making the connection that Obama was making the decision. So if Obama was making the decision, it certainly shows his corruption. Now, has it reached statute of limitations for being a treasonous clown? I have no idea. But it is known now, and this is new evidence to the American people. And so therefore, when it is a president intentionally trying to change the results of an election of the people of the United States, I don't see, especially when it's a known falsehood. It is a known lie, and he knew it was a lie. That sounds like it's a lot more than just corruption. It sounds like it's a lot more than just Watergate. It sounds like it is an attempted coup.
Yeah.
Successful coup. Really, if you think about it, And that takes out all of the voting machines being corrupted and rigged and able to be adjusted over the internet, which they were the ones telling us that they couldn't have been adjusted through the internet, yet we know that they were connected to the internet. This is a treasonous conspiracy, and these people need to be brought to justice. And I know that every American that believes this needs to keep presenting this information to anybody and everybody who will listen, so that way the word can get spread, because it's going to be a big deal. These people, there should be trials in Guantanamo Bay. They should be military tribunals, so that way it absolves President Trump and the Republican Party. It is something the military is supposed to do to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And these would be domestic enemies. And so therefore, I think it directly falls under the purview of the United States military, and it should be tried under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The end. Lock them up. Oh my God, lock them up. Anyways, Left Lane says, look, I said from where to go with Obama. What better place to put a terrorist but right in the president's chair?
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree, Carol. Liar, liar, pants
on fire. Yeah, they
tell him I like mine medium rare.
Medium rare, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
We're about 2.5 hours away.
Yes.
Although I don't know if we're going to make it. But anyways, let's see. Yep, here we go. All right. VP Vance confirms he went to Indiana to talk redistricting.
Let's listen.
Oh, no.
You're just back from Indiana. Did you have discussions on redistricting with officials there?
We did. We spoke with the governor, with the Speaker of the House there in Indiana, and the Senate President. And the message I delivered is pretty straightforward. We want a unified Republican team. We want to fight together, win together, make big things happen for the American people, and obviously the people of the state of Indiana together. But one of the things that you see in a lot of red states is blue states have really aggressively gerrymandered such that they've actually made it harder for the majority of the state of Indiana to have their voice heard in their federal elections. Because if California has crazy gerrymanders, Illinois has crazy gerrymanders, New York has crazy gerrymanders, what it does is it actually suppresses the will of the people in states like Indiana. And the other thing that we talked about, and I didn't realize this, Maria, until a couple of years ago, that, for apportioning representatives, you actually count illegal aliens. So even though illegal aliens theoretically are not supposed to vote, we know sometimes they do, you still count illegal aliens for congressional apportionment. So California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens in their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen. That's ridiculously unfair. And the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done.
Thoughts?
All right. So really, I think the important thing that he was talking about was laying the blame on California. But it's not just California. It's every state with a sanctuary city. That's going to be your Colorado and your New York and your Illinois, the places where they're extremely gerrymandered to try to take advantage of all those illegal votes that they keep getting. It's overclocked. They're getting so much more than they actually should be apportioned. Again, 30,000 concept makes so much sense to end this kind of crap. It's hard to gerrymander only 30,000 people. Let that one sink in a little bit. So with that, yeah, exactly, Silver. Treasonous clowns. They will be utterly defeated. Just watch. I know they're going to be defeated. And that's why these things are being talked about. This redistricting. And I think that this was kind of a spike the football kind of thing that JD Vance was doing. But he was also pointing out about how the apportionment was done improperly. So since he's going out there, and he was talking about Indiana, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And so he pointed out these states where gerrymandering is a real problem. So this is bringing the gerrymandering conversation to the forefront. But in the meantime, it's going to take a long time to get that kind of gerrymandering fixed. But it's a tit for tat. And this is one more of those things where the conservatives are actually playing the way this, you set the rules to the game. If you didn't like it, then you shouldn't have been doing it for all these decades. Now that now that you're getting a taste of your own medicine, all of a sudden you're getting your ass kicked and you don't like it anymore. Well, don't let your alligator mouth overload your hummingbird ass.
There you have it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
All right.
People still do get married in their 40s. They really do. People still do live after experiencing the worst tragedy. Things change. People who formerly were so depressed that they couldn't even get out of bed go on to found companies. They really do. People who get fired from jobs for being incompetent later get celebrated for being innovative once they find their fit. Things change. Things change. People who once struggled with sin to the point that they identified themselves as a recovering alcoholic become mentors for other recovering alcoholics. Things change. They really do. Families where nobody ever went to college, families where nobody ever really got out of high school, go on to produce some of the greatest leaders that you've ever seen. Things change. They really do. I don't know who this is for because it's not in my notes, but the Holy Ghost got a hold of me to tell you things change. They really do.
Thoughts?
It's something that we should always keep in mind. It doesn't matter how difficult things may be right now. And if you take a look back when you had difficult challenges in your own life in the past, and you recognize that things changed and they got better, and, sometimes things get worse, but it's part of the way thing is. There's a flow of life, like the ocean waves, it's a part of everything. And so it's a matter of just understanding that it is all temporary. It is, oh God, what was I forgot the quote now off the top of my head. But it basically boils down to just accept the fact that everything's going to change, and know that whether it's good or whether it's bad, this too shall pass.
It will.
That's what it was. This too shall pass.
There you have it. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Ephesians 3:20 says that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than anything we ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that he's placed inside of us. If you're tired of doing it on your own and in your own strength, you run to the Lord and he fills you with power that is not of yours, but is from on high. You can start to see him do amazing things in and through your life.
Thoughts?
All right. I was actually reading the chats. I thought it was going to be longer.
No, it was Ephesians 3:20.
Jeez. Okay. Well, let me just pull up Ephesians 3:20. My apologies, friends. Chapter 3, verse 20.
Yes.
Okay, let's go over Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. Okay, so I know that I messed this one up, and thank you for your patience with me. God does more than we do know how to ask or imagine. He wants to bless us more than we even know how to ask. We just have to get out of our own way. We have to trust that God is in control of our lives. One of the things that, Kay has said on here many times, God is still writing your story. God is still writing your story. Stop trying to steal the pen. Trust the author. And so it's about putting that complete and utter faith in God and knowing that he is the one writing your story and that he wants it to be a much better story than what you have. So just live in that faith.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You ready?
I got caught off guard on that one.
That's okay.
I try to keep up with what people are saying.
know, and that's why it's really okay.
I'm still going to beat myself up. You can't make me stop beating myself up. Anyway, Silver says, Dawn and Carol, thanks for the email. You two are so cute. Glad we are digitally connected. Aw.
Isn't that sweet?
That is
We have the
sweet.
best family on the planet.
We do.
Ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
Okay.
There's a quote that says, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. It's all in the power of the mind. It's all in your perspective.
All right, motivate us on Friday.
All right, motivate you on Friday. Well, here, let me give you some demotivation first. We are in Mercury retrograde, and there's a full moon tomorrow. So if it's been ridiculous for you for a period of time, and it seems like things are kind of rough, know that during these times, things change. And these changes that happen usually free us from some of the things that were keeping us from moving forward. And even though it may be something that we loved or something that was important to us, it's time to let some things go and allow the possibilities that are there. Because if we're not focused on the things that are holding us back and we're focused on what's out there instead of, then we are, it's like the old saying, two men behind bars, one sees mud, the other sees stars. It's about what you choose to focus on. So focus on the stars. When it is dark, you can see the stars. When it is raining, look for the rainbow. But you got to look for those as opposed to recognize, or as opposed to focusing on the rain, focusing on the fact that it's dark and you can't see with the things that you normally see. It just means that it's time to focus on something different. So with that being said, make sure that you're looking for the beauty in life, because God is showing us beauty even in the midst of darkness. And so those are the things that we need to look for. As Liberty says, what do you drive, a jet? It's 337 miles from Las Vegas to San Diego, 5 hours, 20 minutes with no traffic. Of course, on a Friday, traffic from California is headed north to Sin City. That's what makes it easy. And we have a back route that we use.
It's still more than 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is to 29 Palms.
Depends on who's driving.
Yeah.
Y'all just don't know how to drive. That's right. It is 2.5 hours to the stumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our secret route. We go through Amboy, 29 Palms, I think Riverside, and then yeah.
He's always paying attention.
I try to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, when we
Anyways.
go from here to San Diego, it's about 4 hours. Just
Look, it's
saying.
Friday. I've had a rough week. It's been a Mercury retrograde, and tomorrow's a full moon. So I'm looking for the stars. So y'all can be a bunch of haters all you want. It's fine.
Carol's been to 29 Palms.
Have you? I'm sorry.
We were stationed there for 3 years. I actually didn't mind
Actually,
it.
I did. There were a lot of things that I enjoyed about
Yeah.
29 Palms. It took me a while to see the stars, but I
Yeah.
did end up seeing it.
And he took me at night, the little turkey, because
There's-
when you
yeah.
pull in, there's so many lights from the base. It looks like it's an actual city. And then
But
I
it's
woke
not.
up in the morning and I was like, where'd the city go? Yeah. Yeah.
I rode an elephant at the date festival. I didn't even know there were elephants or date festivals.
No.
All right. Anyways. Is it fun or scary? Okay, y'all are having a great time in the chats. Kay, did you have anything to add?
Perspective. Perspective is always important. It's like what Santino says, two men behind bars, one sees mud, the other sees stars. It's all about perspective. When something's going on in your life and you're going through a Job season, try to remember that everything is in his timing, and think about all the blessings you have instead of everything that is going wrong. And then just maybe you can smile a little bit brighter.
All right, everybody. Well, I think that pretty much brings us to a close for this week. I do believe that this is going to be the last week that we do a Friday show. They're usually a little bit light.
will be a webinar.
Yeah, we're going to do the webinars on the Fridays.
Yeah.
And then that might work out a little bit better. We'll see how
Yeah.
it goes. Anyways, we're trying
Nobody
new and
shows up.
exciting things.
Well, not nobody, but a lot of people don't show up on Fridays. And
It's Friday. People go do
Yeah,
Friday things.
exactly.
It is what it is. Anyways. All right, everybody. Well, we love you all and we pray that you have an amazing weekend. And we'll be back Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. And if you're over on Facebook, you got like 7 choices. So run over there and clickety-click. And don't forget, when you see Angie, congratulate her. Her wonderful little granddaughter is here. And I know she's just beyond excited right now.
All right, everybody. We love you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.